I wonder what you'd say if I told you that Christmas, or at least the whole point of Christmas, started for people just like us. Of course, I wouldn't expect you to believe me right away, so instead, let me start with a story. It all started with the dark. It hovered like a stagnant fog which refused to be removed. It was a place of oppression and pain, often fitted with racism, deception, conflict, and tragedy. Here in the quiet obscurity, we find a broken world filled with drastic division, power-hungry politics, and lost people, both in word and deed. Sound familiar? See, the people of Israel had long been told of a coming Savior, someone who would pull them out of this dark place. They had prayed and waited and recounted the stories of what God had promised them for years, centuries even, all in hope of this coming King. While religious leaders made holiness more and more difficult to attain, and political powers demanded more and more of their time and wages, despair began to swallow up the people as they were overwhelmed by this growing darkness. And it was here, in the middle of this, that the world was shaken by the cries of a newborn. Hope incarnate, the promise fulfilled, a light born into the darkness. Jesus, the long-awaited Savior, had finally arrived. He brought with him hope and salvation. And his presence was for all who were encircled by the crushing walls that lay all around. His arrival was first announced to some of the lowest in society, the shepherds, instantly showing that everyone was invited to the table. He lived a holy life and taught others to do the same as he went. And when the time was right, he suffered. He suffered for all those lost in the blackness of their sin, taking their punishment, their hopeless situation, and put it upon himself. He died for their freedom. He died for our freedom. And it all started with Christ coming into a broken and exhausted world filled with corruption and agony. What would you say if I asked you, do you have hope? Well, if it takes you a minute to think about it, you'd probably be in good company with the Israelites. See, they were tired and pushed beyond their limits, and they had no idea who could save them from the world that they were in, the mess that they were in. They had been stepped on, pushed out, even left fighting for their lives at times, all the while clinging on to a centuries-old promise that things would get better. And I imagine there were days even that didn't help. Jesus came into the world and was welcomed by a people very similar to us. But it didn't stop there. Christ came for all. Christ came to bring his presence to any who would seek him out. In a time when people were losing their faith and trusting in all sorts of lies and deciding to hurt one another for their own gain, Christ came to seek and to save any and all who would believe on him, the ultimate light. And now, today, we still have the opportunity to grab hold of that light in our own dark world. So, wonder what you'd say if I told you that the point of Christmas started for a people just like us. But I'd wonder more what you would say if I told you it started for you.